Hi, I'm Avery Davidson. Thank you for joining us for This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, the only TV show bringing Louisiana farmers and consumers together every week. Drones seem to be everywhere. We use them to capture video from a different perspective. Companies like Amazon are using them to make deliveries in huge cities. They've also been used in the war in Ukraine. As TWILA's Karl Wiggers shows us, in Franklin Parish, they're being used in the war against weeds.
The future is now for Cam Harper and his employee Kate Harper. They are setting up command on this farm in Franklin Parish. Batteries charging, tanks filling, fields mapped.
Waypoint added.
It's time to take flight.
It's a precise piece of equipment.
These drones are the newest tools for farmers to use to apply herbicides, pesticides, and more. Today they're treating a field that's too wet for a tractor.
It's been wet when it shouldn't have been for farmers who are trying to get in their fields and spray. That takes the tractor and the highboy out. It's either a plane or now a drone that can do it.
Harper says this has been the story since he started the business 5 months ago. Though his aerial approach is not new, Harper believes it does have a place in the market.
The air tractor has been a vital part of farming, agriculture, especially in our area, for years and years and years, and it's not going to go anywhere. The air tractor has its place here, just like the drone has its place in certain niches. Maybe you're like this farmer who farms next to a break with tree lines all around it, 3 houses and power lines. I feel like I'm better suited here than an airplane would. It's going to be a precise application. It's going to be mindful of the homeowners around it, and it's going to protect not only the farmer, but people that are around the application.
And those neighbors are excited about it. That's what Harper heard directly from Wayne Lowe, a neighbor to a field that he was leaving.
This looks like it is almost pinpoint accuracy, like laser controlled.
Lowe says he's lost fruit trees and winter vegetables over the years, and he's excited for the more precise option farmers have.
I'm tickled pink of the improvement of control around people's houses with the chemical and burn down they put out. And it would be great for putting out fertilizer around people's houses.
That precision is the selling point, but Harper was slow to take credit for that.
The farmer's got certain requirements that he wants for his application. I input those into the system. I map the field out, tell the drone how much to spray, what to spray. Once it uploads to the drone, it knows that and it pretty much does it. There's very little interaction with me controlling the drone after that.
There is a trade-off with these drones: speed. These are moving about 15 feet off the ground and about 12 miles an hour. These two drones can cover about 200 acres a day.
You know, that's less than what a tractor's going to get. That's much less than what an airplane's going to get. But I believe you're paying for a different product and a specialty product.
Harper told me that he does have plans to also do some work in the residential space, spraying lawns for things like stickers or mosquitoes or aquatic weeds in your backyard pond, and even more. To learn about Macon Ridge Specialty Drone Services, head over to our website at twilatv.org. And Avery, I've been a big fan of my cute little drone. I feel like it's a cute little drone after seeing these guys.
I need to stop you there because not only is he a big fan, he is a drone nerd.
I love them. I think they're the coolest thing ever. People ask me about all the camera toys that we get to play with doing this job, and
That's your favorite.
toys. Toys is a strong term.
It's a tool.
They're
It's a tool.
tools. But this looks like a toy. This guy, not a toy.
Yeah,
That thing is huge, and it just blew my mind. I thought I knew everything about drones. Not everything. I don't know everything about drones. But I thought I had a pretty good grasp of drones. But that is a game changer. And just seeing them work in the field, it was just mind-blowing. Just how efficient they are, how... I mean, they fly 15 feet off the ground, and the application is really solid. It goes around light poles and just... It's all the cool things I've seen in this, except in the middle of a field in Franklin Parish, and it's like the future is here.
For a moment, Karl, did you consider a career change?
I did. I was like, Cam, do you need any workers in South Louisiana? But I did see. I know there are other farmers that are already picking this up, and he's talking about working with farmers to one, get them the drones, and he's a provider now for DJI on the ag side, but 2, to help service farmers. And like, hey, I've walked through this. I know the headaches you're going to run into on your farm, getting all this stuff calibrated and stuff. So he's trying to partner with farmers to put these tools in their hands also. So it's really cool. So he may not need me to help him here in South Louisiana, but it was very tempting because it's just the technology is just so cool to see it in the field. And I was like, man, I could see myself doing this because it's fun.
It's definitely an interesting growing side of technology. Thank you very much, Karl Wiggers. Rice farmers are beginning to plant their crops in South Louisiana. Before sitting in the tractor, many rice farmers sat in this meeting in Crowley to hear about the work happening across the state and in Washington, D.C. for their industry. This is a joint meeting of the Louisiana Rice Council and the Louisiana Rice Growers Association. It's here where farmers were able to network, learn about some new technology like drones, catch up with friends, old and new, and discuss some very important issues like the Farm Bill. Evangeline Parish rice farmer Richard Fontenot says it's vital for the new Farm Bill to include measures to strengthen the safety net that all Louisiana farmers depend upon, especially rice growers.
And the Farm Bill is supposed to be our safety net moving forward, and Congress has always supported rice and other commodities as well. And I think probably the biggest takeaway we need to get in this next Farm Bill is to strengthen that safety net to help us keep afloat so we can have production opportunities in the future. The disaster payment that we got last year for the economic offset money, the $250 million to USA Rice, was the leader in getting that done. That didn't make farmers whole, but it allowed them an opportunity to farm again.
Betsy Ward is the president and CEO of USA Rice. She traveled to Crowley for the meeting. She says it's important to be at meetings like this to learn from the growers she represents in Washington, D.C. To learn more about the work USA Rice and Louisiana Farm Bureau are doing on the upcoming Farm Bill, head over to our website at twilatv.org. Now, speaking of our nation's capital, a group of Louisiana young farmers and ranchers recently traveled to Washington, D.C. It's there where they learned about the political and regulatory process, and they had the chance to voice their concerns as lawmakers began to draft a new farm bill. With open doors and hearty handshakes, staffers working for members of the Louisiana congressional delegation welcome 8 Louisiana Farm Bureau young farmers and ranchers who are making their rounds on Capitol Hill.
They seem legitimately interested in what we have to say about everything.
For St. Landry Parish sugarcane farmer Nicholas Giras, this is his first trip to Washington, D.C., which is why Louisiana Farm Bureau organizes trips to the nation's capital for farmers and ranchers under the age of 35 to give them the experience of advocating for agriculture.
I am enjoying seeing the whole process. I can voice my concerns, and these people are willing to listen. So that's been an interesting thing. It's not just it didn't feel like we were a number just rolled through the offices.
Unlike other visits past groups have made, Young Farmers and Ranchers Chair Robert Duncan says this one comes at a pivotal time when lawmakers are preparing to draft the 2023 Farm Bill.
With this being a Farm Bill year, it was kind of more crucial than in the past. It's always good to come up and see your elected officials, but this year it was very it felt more rewarding because you know what you're telling them is something you need coming up soon.
Chelsea Domang and her husband Philip grow sugarcane in Vermilion Parish. She says she appreciates the chance to meet with her elected officials like Senator Bill Cassidy.
If we don't get out as young farmers and ranchers and tell our story, especially to those that are making a difference in the laws and regulations, they won't necessarily know what all is going on. So we have to be advocates for ourselves and let them know so that can play into the decisions that they make, especially involving the Farm Bill that's coming under this year.
Get involved, stay involved. That's what that's how we fell into it and we hit the ground running. So if you can, take the time to get involved and when you get there, stay there.
2 of the young farmers and ranchers on that trip are also now LSU Ag Leadership graduates. Robert Duncan of Rapides Parish and Cody Beavers of Franklin Parish both graduated as part of Class 17 on Saturday. Congratulations to them and the rest of the class. While the young farmers and ranchers were in the nation's capital, U.S. Secretary of Agriculture Tom Vilsack was in Louisiana. Vilsack visited the state to highlight investments being made in supporting small and underserved farmers and business owners. During a trip to the campus of Southern University, Vilsack was joined by Governor John Bell Edwards, Congressman Troy Carter, and a fellow cabinet member, the SBA Administrator Isabella Guzman. The group held a press conference on the bluffs overlooking the Mississippi River. There they outlined the importance of Louisiana agriculture, small businesses, and the programs they have in place to create jobs, invest in a well-trained and competitive workforce, and close the racial wealth gap. Vilsack says USDA programs have been vital to keeping Louisiana farmers in business.
Almost 400 farmers here in Louisiana got the benefit of about $19 million of debt relief assistance so they could stay on the farm. So the future is here, and we're excited about the opportunity to work collaboratively with Southern, with the governor's administration, with Congressman Carter, and with our good partner at SBA, where we actually at times work together to help and assist business. So it's really an honor to be here to folks, and thank you very, very much for what you're doing, because you're providing a great model to the rest of the country about a more positive, more hopeful future for not just a few farmers in this country, but for many and most.
In the crowd were other elected officials, government agency employees, representatives from the Southern University and LSU Ag Centers, and most importantly, the farmers and business owners impacted by these new programs. This wasn't the only time the USDA chief was in Louisiana that week. Secretary Tom Vilsack was also in New Orleans for the National Association of Conservation Districts held at the Marriott on Canal Street. Vilsack told the audience that with an all-time high of conservation dollars coming to the states, the districts would be busier than ever. Recently, Louisiana was awarded $25 million to help clean up orphan wells. Many similar projects are on the horizon. The challenge is to make sure rural districts and local efforts have input on where conservation funding goes, according to Louisiana Association of Conservation Districts President Ben Longone.
There's a lot of things that we've been doing forever that are climate change activities that nobody realizes we do. And so now they're sending money to help us do what we did already. But they're going to show us how to do it better, or there are ways to do it better. And there's always room for improvement. So that's how I think this is going to work all out. It's good that it's coming down, because I think that means they trust the people on the ground, the grassroots people, to get it done.
The NACD board approved new Farm Bill recommendations, including giving producers a wide array of options instead of a one-size-fits-all policy approach, as well as keeping the Inflationary Reduction Act dollars tied to Farm Bill conservation programs. The middle of a Costa Rican jungle might be a strange place to find a world-renowned university. It's even stranger when you find out it was founded in part by an American with strong ties to agriculture. TWILA's Neil Melancon shows us the Katia Institute and how its research is on the cutting edge.
It may seem strange to see a tribute to a USDA secretary in Costa Rica, but Henry Wallace laid the cornerstone of what would become the Tropical Agricultural Research and Higher Education Center, or CATIE as it's known by its Spanish acronym.
CATIE is the oldest university and research center in Latin America, working on sustainable development for agriculture and conservation of natural resources. But also we do systemic research on innovative processes, on sustainable agroforestry systems, sustainable cocoa and coffee production systems, but also on sustainable management of forestry and food security and nutrition.
Much of that research involves sustainability, including this genetic seed bank here. The agricultural and tree seeds here stretch back to CATIE's founding.
CATIE has been safeguarding important seed banks here, including the coffee and cocoa for more than 75 years. Also the forest gene bank is very important for us. But especially for the coffee, for example, and cocoa, in the context of climate change, we are noticing that we need to look for new varieties of coffee that will adapt to increasing temperatures, changing environment, changing environmental conditions.
Wallace is not the only connection to America. The LSU Ag leadership class touring the facility met a friendly face in Dr. Felipe Piguaro, an economics professor here at CATIE who got his PhD at LSU. He says while the research here is cutting edge, what drives him is the outreach to the farmers in his area.
Most of the project we work, we do research, we do development work, but we are helping people, right? We are helping people to improve their conditions, their economic conditions, right? So we have that research component on how we can do better, how we can intervene those farms better in a way farmers can send their kids to school, right? Can improve their quality of life.
This is where the chocolate that you eat comes from. It's the cacao fruit, and it grows right off the trees here. Here at CATIE, they're doing genetics research to help these fruit trees continue to provide us with our sweet treats in the future.
And coffee are responding and producing new varieties or clones that the industry is demanding. For example, Starbucks, Nestle, Mars, Lindt, all these big industries, but also the small cooperatives that are engaged in the production of chocolate and coffee.
It's not all markets and research here. Cartier's botanical gardens are a living seed bank, preserving many of the indigenous species for everyone to enjoy. This tree in particular was sacred to the Mayan people, who used it in fertility and funeral rites. Certainly, the beauty here can be appreciated by everyone, and that's why Cartier is seeking to save it for future generations.
We've been training people and also providing them with the tools to make decisions of reducing the impacts of invasive species, but also in selecting exotic species that will not become invasive species in time.
Cartier accepts students from all over the world, including many from the United States. To learn more, head on over to our website at twilatv.org. And Avery, of course, as you know, you saw that professor that was from LSU, and you and I had lunch there, and we met a professor that was also from the United States. So there's just so many strong connections there at Cartier, too, back home to the U.S.
And it's amazing how much work they do that actually can come back here, even though it's kind of centralized there in Central America.
Right.
Didn't mean to do that pun, but that came out. But it really is great to see what's applicable there that we can use back here in the States.
Sure, a lot of what they're doing with silvopastoral research and, you know, putting trees in pastures and farm fields and that sort of thing is all coming out of there. Of course, they're as you know, their tropical paradise there is a little different from many of the biomes we have back home, but there's a lot of connection there, and as they're spreading throughout Central America, which is becoming, and South America, which is becoming increasingly an increasing source of feeding the world, that research is becoming more vital.
Well, for a moment, I didn't think we were going to get Neil out of the Botanic Garden there because that was beautiful.
My God, that was gorgeous. You know, the funniest thing was everybody loved those bamboo trees, and I'm like, you can see that anywhere. It's an invasive species. There were just so many more interesting species there that were there, and it was great to see those cocoa fruits and that sort of thing.
Well, thank you for bringing us that story, Neil Melancon. Still to come on TWILA, how much are crawfish where you live? We'll have the prices, but first, life lessons through livestock. Stay with us. Raising livestock is about more than caring for an animal. It's about building life skills and responsibility. That's why preparing for and attending the LSU Ag Center State Livestock Show is a big deal for students involved in 4-H and FFA. Craig Gautreaux takes us to Gonzales to see how that year of hard work pays off.
Johanna Martin shows both big and small. The Lafourche Parish 4-H'er works with dairy goats and cattle. In some ways, these animals are similar, but the sheer size of cattle presents its own set of challenges.
They're much harder. You definitely have to put more training into them. In addition, I find that cattle tend to have more personality, so you have to make sure you work with them.
The competition is fierce in the ring, and each competitor is seeking to get the attention of the judge. And what is the best way to impress that judge?
You want to make sure you have eye contact with the judge, your animal's set at all times, you're aware of the placement of your animal's feet and how it looks. Make sure your animal's square and the lines are all straight.
Fontenot and his sister both show animals. Their father, Neil, has a simple philosophy with regards to raising and showing livestock.
They train the animals, they break the animals. I'll sit back, I'm there for advice and for support. And that way, when they do succeed, it's on them. They succeed. They look at themselves in the mirror and say, hey, I did it.
Taking care of an animal from birth and preparing it to enter the ring takes dedication, commitment, and other skills that will benefit the students down the road.
You talk about life skills. You talk about, one, being able to take care of something. Two, learning and understanding the appreciation of putting a hard day's work in and getting a solid result out of it.
For Martin, showing dairy goats comes with some extra benefits.
We have friends that love to make cheese, and my sister, she's lactose intolerant, so she drinks it. And I love baking, so that's my favorite thing to do, use my milk for is milk. It's baking.
Reporting from the LSU Ag Center Livestock Show, this is Craig Gautreaux reporting.
More than 2,000 exhibitors, that would be children to you and me, showed more than 3,500 animals over the Livestock Show's 8-day run. We're past Mardi Gras, which means we're in the Lenten season when crawfish boils are a weekly ritual. That means you're going to be looking for the best crawfish around. Well, here are a few places you can find them. Big Boilin' in Bossier City has live crawfish for $3.49 a pound and boiled for $5.99 a pound. Get live crawfish from C&M Crawfish in Vidalia for $3.99 a pound and boiled for $2 more a pound at $5.99. Down in Lake Charles, you'll find live crawfish at Contraband Crawfish for $3.50 a pound, and they'll boil them up for you for just $5.49 a pound. If you have a favorite place to buy crawfish, send us a note on Facebook or Instagram and we'll feature them in our crawfish prices next week. I still suggest you get to know a crawfish farmer or fisherman so that you can get the freshest crawfish at the best price directly from them. These prices are brought to you by the Louisiana Crawfish Promotion and Research Board, which reminds you to always buy Louisiana crawfish. And if you're not sure, ask before you eat. Still to come on TWILA, Granny goes TikTok. Stay with us. You've heard us talk about it a few times, and if you're still unfamiliar with it, TikTok is one of the newest and most popular social media platforms, especially for younger generations, and I know you've heard a little bit about it in the news probably, but I must admit, I am not a super user, and while I, like many others, blame it on age, it turns out that's no longer a valid excuse. Just ask Granny Bibbins. She is the 81-year-old TikTok star from rural western Oklahoma with more than 1 million followers. Her grandson Gatlin gained popularity when he started sharing entertaining videos of his life experience as a farm boy. Well, Gatlin would occasionally enlist the help of his grandmother, Granny Bibbins. Her presence was so popular, she went on to create her own social personality and channel to help spread that farm humor and knowledge even further. Take a look at a few of our favorite videos.
Did you know 3 ounces of this can give you energy?
Whoa, Granny, what the heck's into you?
And will keep your immune system strong. While also helping to keep you fit. These are Farm Facts with Granny, brought to you by the Oklahoma Beef Council.
Where are you going? To either get ice cream or commit a felony. I'll decide in the car.
Wow. Crazy. You're crazy, girl. Wow.
While Granny Bibbins and TikTok as a whole is mostly known for its lightheartedness, it can't be overlooked as an important tool for advocating. According to a New York Times article, the video app is increasingly being used as a search engine by Generation Z. Young consumers are going there to ask questions about how to do things and find explanations for what things mean. And we have to make sure the right explanations are there when it comes to their food, fiber, and the agriculture industry as a whole. So thank you to Granny Bibbins and all of those helping bring factual agricultural information to TikTok. Who knows, you might even see me giving it a try next week. Not likely. Well, that does it for this edition of TWILA. Be sure to join us next week when we'll tell you about the difficulty getting people to work on the farms that feed us all. Until then, you can watch all of our stories online at twilatv.org. And be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. You can also find all of these stories and more on our YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe, turn on notifications so you know when we put something new out there. For all of us here at TWILA, thank you for joining us. We hope to see you again right here next week.